Well, hello, and here today on the Rusty Glove Box. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be lowering our tower for our wind turbine, and I got my hat on, protect the old head from the sun, and maybe a fallen turbine pole. So anyway, let's get started on lowering this pole. Well, the way all this works is I take that lower bolt out that is backed out partially, and then that other one that the nut's barely on, I would take it out. But then the top one I leave in. I've disconnected the ground cable, so whenever it breaks over, I don't run a chance of it snapping the end off the cable. Up at the top, I've taken the U-bolt off, so all I got to do now is just remove those two bolts down there, and we'll be ready to lower it. What I'm going to have to do is take my slip ring off, and that way I can slide the collar on there. Just want to show you how I put the bolts through there, and that way I don't have one bolt going from side to side. I got two separate bolts, and that way it won't interfere with my slip ring going down the center of the pipe. To help limit on friction and allow this thing to spin easily, I installed 3 grease zerks, and I'm using a marine type grease, so water won't be hard on it or something like that. And probably, if I grease it once a year at just a pump or two, and that's going to be plenty. Well, here I drilled a hole in the side of the pipe, and that's where I'm going to run the wires up to the wind turbine. I'm going to come out of the top of the pipe, and the whole center of this pipe is going to be hollow, and so if any water should get in it, it'll be able to run out at the bottom. Here's just a quick picture of the hinge on how it breaks over and everything, and so any water that should come in at the top of the pipe should easily run down the pipe and not create a pocket for any water to collect. Here you can see where I've run the wire up the center of the pipe, and I'll probably pull a little extra, about like that right there. That'll give me plenty to work with, and what I'll do is I'll attach it to my slip ring, and then I'll kind of roll this up and just stick that down inside the pipe. Well, here we got the wire nuts on there, and so now what I'm going to get ready to do, I have some waterproofing material I'm going to put on this, and I'm going to tie this cable to the bottom of this cable, and then I'll kind of pull it back down in there a little bit. But I want to be sure and leave enough that if I ever have to replace this slip ring, I'll be able to pull up enough cable to get that done. Here's the socket that I installed on the end of the cable, and what I have on the building is the other end of the cable that's recessed into a little pocket, kind of like a RV or something like that. So you can't risk getting your fingers anywhere near the higher voltage. Starting to look more and more like a wind turbine. I don't know if you can see the tail of it, but it's pretty balanced. I've got the blades on there, and the tail is kind of lifted off the ground some. So it sits pretty balanced on the pole, and so that's going to be a big plus. All right, well, it's come down to this. We're going to see how hard it is to raise that wind turbine. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. It wasn't very hard to get that pole down, so maybe it won't be very hard to get that pole standing back up. Well, I'll tell you what, it was touch and go there for a minute, but we got it up there. All we need now is a little wind. But I feel a gust or two coming up, so it needs to spin about 3 times that fast to generate 12 volts or so. So anyway, we'll probably come back out here later when we got more wind. Right now we've got less than a 15-mile-an-hour wind out there, and you can kind of tell when the wind picks up a little bit, we start putting out more volts, and right here I'm just picking it straight up off of the wind generator wires coming out of the rectifier. It won't be dumping like 15 volts into the batteries or anything. I have to go through the charge controller, and that will help keep it at a nice steady, I think I have it set at like 14 volts. But it's nice to see that it's charging and everything like it should. We're doing some good now. We got a little bit of a breeze, and just starting to spin the turbine up there. Well, I tell you what, that wind generator, it's doing the trick. And I tell you what, I'm looking forward to seeing how it performs. I've got a few parts coming for it next week that I'll probably put on it. Nothing real major, just a couple of gauges, something like that. And so anyway, I tell you what, really excited about this. So I appreciate y'all coming by the shop today. This is Rusty Glovebox, and I'm out of here.